Good morning. So I'm Chris Hughes. I'm Head of Procurement Strategy at Heathrow Airport. I'm delighted to be here in Liverpool at the CPO conference, speaking to you at the IFB. Heathrow is actually a proud sponsor of IFB. So I want to thank Global Business Intelligence for inviting me here to talk to you today. And thank you, Gareth, for that kind introduction. I want to start just by, to many people, an airport it's little more than a runway. It's a few buildings, it's some planes, but it's much more than that. It's a place where journeys begin to astonishing places. It's where families reconnect after time apart. It's where children feel the magic of flying for the first time. And it's where business plans become business deals. I just want to share a little video to start with. I wanted to share that video with you because Heathrow is all about people. It's about people and relationships. There are more than 1,500 businesses and 76,000 colleagues working together to support and welcome over 200,000 passengers and 1,300 flight movements every day at Heathrow. Together we make up the extended family that we call Team Heathrow. Heathrow's vision is to give passengers the best airport service in the world. And I believe the key to achieving this goal is by working together in collaboration as one airport team. In this session, I'd like to share with you some of the work that me and my colleagues in procurement have been doing over recent years to develop a new approach, an enhanced approach to strategic supplier relationship management. We call the process Supplier Behavioural Assessment. First, though, I'd like you to think about your own business. I'd like you to think about a key strategic supply partner in your business, someone who you've been working with for some time. What were your expectations about that relationship at the start? How confident were you that you could work really well together? And what potential did you believe your organisation would have together to advance your organisational goals? Now I want you to think forward a year or two in that relationship. Have your high expectations been fulfilled? Is the relationship as strong and as valuable as you first thought it would be? Has the potential additional value in that relationship actually been realised in the timeframes that you thought it would do? I suspect across the room the answers to that question are going to be mixed, and it's fair to say that at Heathrow in recent years our success in creating value, additional value through strategic relationships has also been mixed. However, Heathrow has been on a major journey over the last few years, and we've transformed the way that we operate in procurement. We've delivered a step change in functional performance, and through a broad-based procurement transformation programme, we've improved engagement with colleagues in the business and with our strategic supply partners. Through that, we've been able to dramatically increase our return on investment, our functional return on investment. One of the cornerstones of this success has been the introduction of an enhanced approach to supplier relationship management and the creation of several key strategic partnerships, both in our operational and our construction supply chains. We also learned from our hugely successful experience of the London 2012 Olympics that Heathrow, if it wants to achieve its goals, needs partners who are able to demonstrate Heathrow's values. We need partners who are able to strive continually to improve, suppliers who proactively work together with our operation to make every journey better, and suppliers who consistently bring forward innovation to help transform the passenger journey. So what is behavioural assessment, supplier behavioural assessment, and what is value that it's been adding at Heathrow? Supplier behavioural assessment is an approach that we developed together with behavioural psychologist Mark Hopkins, and I'm pleased to say that Mark is with us today in the conference, so mind your behaviour, he is making notes, he'll talk to you about it afterwards. The approach of supplier behavioural evaluation has enabled us to grow our capability to collaborate successfully and create more resilient strategic partnerships. It's also enabled us to mature Heathrow's SRM approach to support us to transform service in the operation and in our construction supply chains. It's also helped us to prepare for the £16 billion programme of expansion that Heathrow has planning over the next few years. Traditional SRM programmes can deliver additional value, we all know that, but it tends to take time to develop the partnering relationship before that value can be realised, and oftentimes it can be a rough road to navigate with commercial pressure from your supply partner and also keeping your internal business stakeholders engaged in the SRM process and enthused about it. Our approach at Heathrow has been to start the evaluation of behaviours at the beginning of the procurement process. That way, locking in the required relationship model and the necessary behaviours into that relationship model, and we lock that into the procurement strategy from day one. This behavioural framework forms a key element of the sourcing process. It informs the evaluation of potential suppliers, it affects the award decision, negotiation, mobilisation, and also then through into contract performance and supplier relationship management throughout the strategic partnership lifecycle. This means we've been able to create high-performing teams in our partnership teams, integrated with our colleagues to much faster than with a traditional post-contract award SRM approach. Supplier behavioural assessment is a framework using behavioural science. The behavioural science is there to support our beliefs in how effectively we can work with our strategic partners. It's based on evidence of what's seen and what's heard, and it looks at frequency and consistency of that observed evidence. Decisions are based on beliefs. People think of a belief as a thing, but it's actually a feeling. It's a feeling of certainty. The amount of confidence that we have in any decision that we make is related to the strength of that belief, that feeling of certainty about that decision. In the context of our suppliers, decisions are based on the certainty about what a supplier can offer and the potential of the value that can be achieved. This certainty is based on evidence, and supplier behavioural assessment provides an additional layer of observed evidence to give greater certainty of the capability of what a supplier can do and how they can work with you, but also the potential of what can be achieved by both parties working together. Traditional tender processes and the evaluation criteria, they tend to focus on various technical capabilities of the bidding team, weighted against the commercial aspects of the proposal. The evidence that we seek from tenderers tends to be historical data. It's case studies, previously attained professional accreditations, past performance metrics, and similar historical credentials. These can be excellent indicators of capability and potential, but I'm sure that everyone in this room is likely to be able to think of an experience in your organisation where you've had great evidence of historical performance from a future supplier that's just not been realised in your organisation after you've awarded that contract. So supplier behavioural assessment is an additional but quite different lens to technical and commercial evaluation. These two criteria tend to measure historical evidence, whereas behavioural assessment is observed evidence in the present. And when it's added to the other criteria, it can be a much more confident measure of anticipated future performance of the key people in your new partnership team. Heathrow now apply behavioural evaluation assessment to as a major weighted criteria in our appointment of strategic partners. Many of the individual tools in supplier behavioural assessment, in that toolkit, they're not uniquely new. For instance, most people will be quite familiar with organisational effectiveness tools that you use to create high-performing teams working on a new project or in a new contracting environment. At Heathrow, however, we apply this approach throughout the whole of the strategic partnership lifecycle. Creation of a values and behaviours framework was the essential first step that we took to enable us to undertake supplier behavioural assessment. This framework required close collaboration with our HR team and across the business. Whilst it's possible to create a bespoke values and behaviours framework specific for a contract environment, I think it's much more coherent to create one, a business-wide set of organisational values and behaviours. A key to success for us at Heathrow has been that everyone in our business knows the Heathrow values. And this has meant that leaders across Heathrow have been able to easily understand how behavioural assessment can create value in the procurement process, and also it links back how they can achieve their own business objectives in their part of the business. It also means that they can play a full part in the assessment process alongside the behavioural psychologists. I think it's important to say at this stage that behavioural psychology is a specialist discipline, so if you don't have that capability in-house, it's important to retain that capability. Our values and behaviours framework has enabled us to move more upstream in the strategic business landscape. It's allowed us to unlock a new layer in our procurement strategy, and it allows us to align relevant behavioural attributes to our chosen relationship model, whether that's a traditional engaging, collaborative or partnership style model. As you've seen, as I've already explained, we apply behaviours as a major criteria in our evaluation process, and that supports the award decision and even some qualitative aspects of the negotiation. Consistent application of the behaviours framework, the values and behaviours framework, throughout the mobilisation and team setup has been an essential theme for us. Each month we use confidential 360-degree behavioural feedback surveys with members of our integrated teams to transparently gauge the development of those teams and create action plans to improve aspects of those relationships. The teams undertake these actions together, collaboratively, and it subsequently is followed up in the senior SRM meetings. Critically, the assessment of behaviours is done by both parties. It's both the suppliers organisation and the Heathrow organisation, and it's done at all levels in the organisation. This is to ensure that everybody's part of the same process, and also that each of us can take responsibility for our own behaviours in the team. I think another important point to make here is about leadership. Because the evaluation of behaviours is on both teams, and it is on the Heathrow team as well, it's been really critical for us to get senior buy-in at Heathrow. And we needed that right across the business in the leadership. My boss, Ian Ballantyne, has led the SRM strategic agenda on Heathrow's executive committee since he arrived. This new approach is new to us in the assessment of it, and it's needed that executive buy-in and leadership. It's fair to say that behavioural assessment has provided just as much learning and development opportunity for our teams as it has our strategic partners. With this idea of maturity in mind, I thought it might be useful to take just a few minutes to talk about some of the evolution of behavioural assessment at Heathrow. Going back some years now, 2008, the supply chain approach for the construction of Terminal 5 was modelled partly in response to the report by Sir John Egan back in 1998, Rethinking Infrastructure, and this early development of an integrated design and development and construction process in major projects, that developed the prototype of the partner and client. And that is ubiquitous across the UK infrastructure industry today. Over the T5 project, Heathrow developed a robust supplier performance and relationship management programme. Excuse me, and we launched a second and third tier engagement strategy. We brought the first tiers much closer into the client management of the project, and although behaviours weren't directly assessed and incentivised in the value in partnership agreements that were created on T5, the effect of incentivised collaborative behaviour was certainly achieved to some degree. The legacy of Terminal 5 has been to move the whole of the UK construction industry into a new era of the partner and client, with benefits in safety, industrial relations and the commercial management based on the alliancing model. We learned much more about collaboration and much more about the benefits of professional collaboration from Heathrow's successful experience as the host airport for the London 2012 Olympics. With this learning in mind, me and my team began to prepare for our current 5-year construction programme. Working closely with our colleagues in HR and our new behavioural psychology partner, Axon Consulting, we launched our new Values and Behaviours Framework, and that underpinned the appointment of our £3 billion construction programme supply chain. As well as creating the behavioural framework, we applied an innovative form of behavioural assessment into the tender process. It included leadership behaviour interviews, design behaviour workshops and collaboration behaviour workshops as well. So using these workshops, we brought together large mixed groups of tenderer teams and our own Heathrow colleagues, and we tested collaborative behaviours through scenario tasks that simulated real working environments and some of the real challenges that can occur. This process meant that me and my team were able to observe the behaviour of potential partnership teams. And with the professional insight from the behavioural psychologists, we could assess real and team and individual dynamics in an impartial way. These behavioural assessments inform the process of down selection, as well as the negotiations and the award decision. Behavioural assessment continued to form part of the mobilisation of all the new teams, and today it continues to be an important part of the performance management process with the monthly behavioural surveys and action plans for all the integrated programme design and construction teams working together. Following the creation of the strategic partnership, we worked collaboratively with members of the partnership teams around Heathrow to create our Working Together Charter. It's based on Heathrow's 6 core values, and it's the foundation to support colleagues across the business, across Team Heathrow, to build great working relationships and deliver Heathrow's vision. The Charter sets out the joint principles about what we can achieve by working together and how we can go about achieving it in a way that aligns with Heathrow's values. In the Working Together Charter, we state we're at our best when we keep everyone safe, when we work together to treat everyone with respect, when we do the right thing and when we improve every day. Together we work to the highest professional standards and we embrace our Heathrow values to guide every decision of every interaction every day. A couple of years ago we launched Relationship Maturity Diagnostic Toolkit. This allows us to collaboratively assess the maturity of relationships, and between ourselves and our key strategic partnerships, we're able to do that across a broad range of behavioural organisational relationship attributes. Like the behavioural feedback surveys, the maturity assessments are undertaken independently, and then they're brought back together collaboratively to understand the differences and to agree a set of joint action plans that can build new capability within the relationship so that we can operate more effectively. This approach has underpinned the development of a number of Heathrow strategic partnerships in recent years, and the work we did with our operational airspace partner, NATS, the National Air Traffic Service, has been recognised by CIP's Supply Management Awards in their shortlist for this year's Best Cross-Functional Teamwork Project. More recently, and probably more significantly, we've embedded behavioural assessment in our appointment of the programme client partners, who together with Heathrow will form the integrated client overseeing the £16 billion expansion programme at Heathrow. This is going to include the new Terminal 6, new Northern Cargo facility, significant investment in local community spaces, as well as the third runway. We're currently using behavioural assessment in our search for the concept architect for Heathrow's future airport design, and you can see on screen some of the exciting design concepts from the four shortlisted architects. Expanding Heathrow will add up to 40 more long-haul routes to help drive direct investment and tourism into the UK, as well as opening up new markets for goods and services produced by your businesses. And with new domestic routes possible to places like right here in Liverpool, Cornwall and Humberside, it creates the opportunity to connect businesses to across every part of Britain to their customers and global suppliers. Importantly, the £16 billion cost of building the new runway will be entirely privately funded, making it the largest private sector infrastructure project in Britain. The Independent Airports Commission estimated the economic benefit of expanded Heathrow to be up to £211 billion, which is more than double the alternative, and it will create up to 180,000 new jobs and 10,000 new apprenticeships right across the UK. This is why airport expansion is so important and why an expanded Heathrow is the right choice for Britain. With or without expansion, Heathrow's plan A is to transform passenger service, to give our passengers the best airport service in the world. My team's job is to enable Team Heathrow to work together to transform passenger service and to transform the infrastructure that supports passenger service. I believe that behavioural psychology is a powerful new tool to assure procurement decisions and help build the high-performing teams that deliver value beyond the pages of the contract in our strategic partnerships. Before I hand back to Gareth for any questions, I'd like to say thank you very much for listening. As I say, Heathrow is a sponsor of IFB. We've got a little stand outside. Please visit the stand later on today if you get the opportunity to. I'm around, and I know Mark is around as well if you've got any questions after the event. Thank you very much.